Tennessee Titans offensive depth chart preview coming at you right after the bumper. Welcome back to the Glory Day Sports Show. I'm your host, Jake Robertson. Follow me at Twitter at Glory Day Sports. But today we are hopping into some offensive depth chart preview for the Tennessee Titans. So we're going to start with some wide receivers because of the news we've seen as of late, and we've heard the rumors and the talk that the Falcons are wanting to move on from Julio Jones, and the Titans could potentially be in the market for that. How that salary cap plays out, and that's the big thing for the Titans, and the asking price. Initially, the Falcons were looking for a first-round pick, and obviously they are not going to get that, and if they do, kudos to them and Arthur Smith, but obviously I don't think that's going to be the case. And I think he will be moved for a second, third, fourth round pick. But what's the asking price going to be? What's the salary cap situation? As of right now, I think his base salary for 2021 is around 15 mil. And the Titans obviously don't have that cap space at the moment. But we have seen John Robinson talking about moving some money around and pushing some money into the future or some restructures with concurrent players. So I could see it happening. I think if they wanted to make it happen, it's going to happen. But it's ultimately going to come down to how that plays out. But we're going to be approaching this as he is not on the team. Because he is not as of currently. And I'm kind of leaning towards he's not going to be on the team. But still hopeful. We'll see what happens. But obviously, wide receiver one right now, A.J. Brown. This is going to be his breakout season, which is amazing for me to say because he's broken out the last 2 years as is. But he could legitimately maybe be the number one wide receiver in the NFL this season because his target share is going to be absolutely mind-boggling just because there's not a lot of depth here. Because that leads me into the second part. We signed Josh Reynolds, who's supposedly going to be the Corey Davis replacement. And that saddens me because he's not going to live up to those standards. And I like Josh Reynolds, but his quip is he is average. He's average in a lot of things. Average speed. He has good size. He goes down to first contact ever since college, so it didn't change when he moved into the pros. And that's something that Corey Davis and A.J. Brown thrived at. He's not going to get you that yak, but he does have very strong hands. He shows good route running. He has a decent release. And the size. The size is good. So I could see him being a 600 to 800 yard receiver potentially for us just because he's going to have to step into that wide receiver 2 role for us. And he's just going to be a slight downgrade for Corey Davis, unfortunately. The wide receiver 3, though, that's where it really gets interesting because this could be a multitude of players. Who's going to step up and take this job? Is it going to be Nick Westbrook, who the team has talked about that they love him, but on tape he is slow, even coming out of college, and his hands are very lackluster. He looks more like a special teams player, but it ultimately comes down to what the coaches think of him. If they like him, he could be on the field, and he could potentially be in that slot role. But we also have Cameron Batson on the roster, who played decent at times last season. And then, of course, we have our rookie, Fitzpatrick, who I wasn't super high on. There was a lot more wide receivers on the board at that point in time who I had over Dez, but he does fit the John Robinson mold. He does have the size. He does have the speed. He's a willing blocker, and his route running is decent. But we'll see how it all plays out. We do have a couple other players that we've brought in, like the kid we signed that dropped the 2 balls, and I'm sure everybody's seen the video of the drill. Obviously, I don't think he's going to make the roster. We also have Cody Hollister out there, who is a very big wide receiver, and we kind of saw him in spurts as well, but he's a special teams player, if not practice squad player for us. I don't think we're done here. If it's Julio, awesome. If not, I still think we're going to bring in another key piece here, a veteran, to kind of help lead these young cats along. But that's it for the wide receivers. Let's hop into some tight ends, because this is something I don't see eye to eye with a lot of Titans fans out there. I think this is Anthony Firkser's season. I think he is going to break out. He's going to have a career year, and he's going to have more yards than Jonnu Smith has had in any of his previous years, in my opinion. He's going to, if I had to say somebody replacing that Adam Humphries move the stick role, I think it is going to be Firkser. He is a great route runner, and his hands are outstanding. He has the size, and he has enough speed to stretch the seam. Obviously, Jonnu Smith had to become more of an inline blocker last season, which is why we saw more of Firkser last year. But that tells us that the team sees that as well and sees that he could potentially take that next steps forward. Everybody's very low on Firkser's blocking ability, which I think he's adequate enough at. I think he's going to be decent enough to where he can come in line. But obviously, we're also going to have Geo Swaim come in. We also brought in Forstall from Alabama as an undrafted rookie. I believe he can help there a little bit. But then we also have a couple other blockers that are down the depth charts as well. So I'm not ultimately super worried about the tight end spot. If we were to bring in one of these veterans that are on the board, like Aiden Njoku, who has been thrown around, I've seen, but there's also a couple others out there. I'm not super worried about this, though. I think we're going to be fine in the tight end room, and I actually like what we have there. But running back, I don't even know why we got to talk about it. Derrick Henry, he's going to take the load. He's still going to, I think he's going to break 2K again. He's just breaking down the doors into Canton. He's going to be a Hall of Famer one day, and it's just written in stone at this point. But then we have Darrington Evans, who is the rookie out of the third round last season, who ultimately had some injury issues ever since the beginning in the offseason, and then it kind of carried around. We saw some spurts of him where he did look good, but he is going to be that scat back for us. He's going to come in on third downs and take some of that workload from Derrick Henry, and I think that's ultimately a good thing. He's not going to get a whole lot of carries, and if we do, it's going to go ultimately to the guy that we just brought in, Brian Hill, who this is the Josh Reynolds of the running back room, in my opinion. He is average. If you look at his stats, they tend to look better than he is. He's not fast, but his 40 time says he is decent. But he is going to alleviate some of that workload as well. And I believe he is an improvement over Jeremy McNichols, who is still on the squad as well. Ultimately, we'll see how that breaks down in training camp. But I don't think McNichols is going to stay around on the team. And I think this is Brian Hill's number 2 job to come in. And if Derrick Henry, God forsaken, did go down to injury, I think Brian Hill could see a workload and could make this team still adequate. But we come into the quarterback room. So this is very, very top heavy. We have Ryan Tannehill and then nobody else really. We have Logan Woodside, who's currently the QB2. And this is a guy that the team has showed confidence in. Obviously, they didn't bring in anybody else in case of an injury. But then we also have Desean Kaiser, the former Cleveland Browns starting quarterback. So, Kaiser has the strong arm. He has the intangibles. And when I saw the signing, I was like, awesome. I could see him being the QB2. And then I turned on the film and just went back to some old tape. And no, it's probably going to be Logan Woodside still. And that's fine. As long as Ryan Tannehill stays healthy, we should be fine. But if he does go down, this team is in drastic trouble very quickly. And hopefully it is very minor. But then we hop into the offensive line. So coming into the year, I thought right tackle was the biggest hole on this entire team, even after the cuts on the defensive side of the ball and everything. I thought right tackle was the biggest hole. And we bring in Dylan Reynolds, who is a great prospect, and I think he's going to be the day one starter. Brought him in the second round. I had a late day one grade on him. So I think he's going to be a great addition to the team, and he's that mauler out of the right tackle that you look for. And he was at left tackle in college, so moving him to the right side might take a little bit of adjustment. But we also brought in Kendall Lamb from the Cleveland Browns, who I actually did like his tape from last season. We did see him start in slight spurts, not a whole lot of snaps, but what we did see did look good. He's not going to bring in that pedigree. He does have the length. His body just looks like he could add a few more pounds to it. But he's not going to be the people mover that Radens could be in the future. Our guards and centers, those are set in stone. We got Roger Saffold on the left. We're going to have Ben Jones in the center. And then we're going to have Nate Davis on the right. But we also have Aaron Brewer there. in behind those, and he's listed as our backup center. He is a super athletic guy that we saw a little bit in spurts. I think he only weighs in about 275, but he's also only 6'1", so his length and size is about non-existent, but he's about athletic as a offensive lineman could be. So if somebody was to go down, I wouldn't mind seeing him there. And then the left tackle, obviously Dad's going to be back, guys. Taylor Lewan's going to be occupying that left tackle position. And his knee surgery sounded like he did have a little slight setback, but it sounds like he's back on track. He'll be there in training camp, I believe, and I believe he will be starting the season. Then behind him, we got the guys that also went down to injury last season, but who are going to still provide great depth, I believe, in Tyson Baralo and Big Q Quisenberry. I think both of those guys also have the size and power to slip down into some guard positions if they were needed to. But to have them behind those, and when they started, they both looked good last season. If they recovered well from their, I believe they both had ACL tears, if I remember right. If they slide back in, I think they're going to be fine. But I think that covers everything, guys. We just knocked this out. I haven't made any videos here lately because I did find a new job, and I've been busy as a lot. I've been doing a lot here lately. But if you want to follow me on Twitter, I post on there multiple times a day, and I give giveaways like this cool "I rebuke that in the name of Jesus" shirts that we have out. I'll put a little link down there below. But we're giving away a Ryan Tannehill Ryan Tannehill Chill shirt later today. So if you want to go hop in there, follow me, like, retweet, everything's good. But I'm gonna put out another video here, probably next week, covering the defensive depth chart, because that has changed more than this has, and I am excited about our defense, guys. But that's it for me today, guys. Check in next time. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe down below. Peace.